Let's kick this around with somebody who knows the politics and the economics. My friend, Senator Kevin Cramer from the great state of North Dakota. Senator Cramer, Kevin, thanks for coming on. And I want to get your take on this carbon tax because I was real surprised that the APA might be endorsing it.
Well, first of all, Larry, thanks for the opportunity, and I love your show. I'm glad you're where you are. With regard to the API, I might just comment on that first. I've been disappointed in lots of corporations and corporate organizations that have found it really important, evidently, to curry some favor with the Biden administration, and I'm afraid that's what's going on here with the API, and I, like you, am disappointed. That said, you talked about all the evils of a lot of taxes, most of them that tax productivity, success, wealth, all of those things. But here's where the carbon tax is different, and in my view, much worse, and that is it taxes the middle income and the lower income people more than anybody, because a carbon tax will raise the price of everything we buy, everything we grow, everything we manufacture, everything we produce, everything we sell. It's in the value chain of everything that we do all day long as a capitalist system. So it really has a disproportionate negative impact on lower income people, which is why I think it seems like a funny thing for liberals to even want to do.
Well, you know, Senator, I mean, it just, I don't know. We'll see what the American Petroleum Institute does. But I'm not going to deny that there's some kind of global warming over long periods of time. I don't deny that. I don't know, however, and these nuclear physicists, they don't know whether it's man-made or solar-made or rainforest-made or ocean-made. But putting all that aside for another day, I'm not convinced we need a carbon tax. That's the thing. And your point about the impact on the middle class and the blue-collar workers, I mean, really, let's not kid ourselves. A stiff carbon tax will just blow up economies anywhere near petroleum or fossil fuels.
Well, just remember, whether you make $50,000 a year or $500,000 a year, the price of gasoline is the same. And so if you're going to add to that price of gasoline, same with a loaf of bread or any number of products that we purchase as staples in our homes, never mind the luxuries. Now, we haven't even begun to talk about the impact on the high-paying, middle-class jobs that the energy sector that actually creates in places like North Dakota and Texas and throughout our country. In fact, all 50 states are involved in the value chain of oil and gas production alone. And of course, and that's without even talking about the importance of coal and the cost of reliable, resilient electricity. There's so many downsides to this, but I agree with you. If we're going to have a carbon tax, then we ought to offset it by lowering a more progressive tax, like an income tax. That's fine by me, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about liberals finding more ways to get more money to pay for more things that the country probably doesn't need. But even if they do need them, it's an upside-down, wrong-headed approach.
Well, you know, Senator Cramer, in Joe Biden's Washington, they'll just grab the revenues and spend it to expand government. That's what they're going to do. They're not going to give it up. I mean, George Shultz preached this to me for many years. And I said, yeah, okay, sir. I mean, he was a great American. James Baker, too. I worked for them many years ago in the Reagan years. I'm not convinced of a carbon tax, but sure, if you're going to use it, let's cut all the other taxes and give it back to the hardworking taxpayers. I don't believe Joe Biden's Washington is going to go that direction. I see you're nodding your head. You don't either. We're running out of time, Senator, and we'd love to have you for an hour at least. But let me just ask you something else. You've weighed in on this. John Hoeven's weighed on this. Senator Barrasso's weighed on this. The prospective Interior Secretary, Deb Haaland, who is against fossil fuels, I'm sure you know, and campaigned against pipelines. What's your take on Ms. Haaland, and is she going to be confirmed?
Well, if she is confirmed, my sense of it right now, Larry, is that she'll be confirmed by a 50-50 vote in the Senate, with Kamala Harris having to come over to cast the deciding vote. I don't know yet a Republican that's said that they're going to vote for it, but I also don't know a Democrat that said they'll vote against her. I have a very specific problem with her, as does Senator Hoeven, and that is she actually came to North Dakota, served meals at the Dakota Access Pipeline protest site, and when asked point blank by Senator Hoeven in her confirmation hearing whether she would recuse herself from any issues relating to the Dakota Access Pipeline, which, as you know, there still are some, even though it's been operating, very successfully for over 3 years now. She refused to recuse herself. She said she would check with the ethics lawyers. Well, ethics don't generally require asking a lawyer if in fact you know that you have a conflict of interest. So I think that's just one indication of a bigger problem with her.
Senator, if you take down the Dakota Access Line, okay, or any of these pipes, isn't that going to really damage and cost jobs in that area, including Native American jobs?
Well, in North Dakota, as you probably know, the Bakken, frankly, the heart of the Bakken is right underneath the three affiliated tribes, Mandan, Hidatsa, Rickaron Nation. And so they depend a lot, not just on oil and gas, but specifically on that Dakota Access Pipeline to get their oil to market. So you have a conflict right there. In other words, oil didn't, God didn't put oil under just certain types of people. And so consequently, yes, there's that. But then there's also the additional national security challenge. That oil that can't get to market that's produced on the North American continent, whether it's the tar sands or oil sands of Canada or the Bakken of North Dakota, that oil, the demand isn't going down for it. The demand is staying where it is, and hopefully in a growing economy it'll actually grow.
All right.
Somebody's going to meet that demand.
Somebody's got to meet that demand.
There are lots of reasons. Yeah.
80% of our power comes from fossil fuels. Senator Kevin Cramer, North Dakota, thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.